Hi, this is Stephanie. So today I'm going to talk about the 3 things that you can do to shorten the time that it takes to adopt. So be sure you stick around to the end because number 3 is the most important. Hi, I'm Stephanie A. I am the founder and executive director at Adoption and Beyond, and I'm going to talk to you about all about adoption today. And we're going to talk about shortening the time that it takes to do the adoption process. There's 3 key things that you can do. So number 1 is to be sure that you work with more than one adoption professional. I read a book here recently, and I will link to who the book was from, but they talked about the power of 3. So having at least 3 different resources of adoption professionals working on your behalf are going to increase your odds to adopt, particularly right now at the time of this recording of the video, which is 2022. Adoptions are, there's just not a lot of domestic adoptions going on. So there'll be important things that you can do to help shorten that time. And one is to not put all your eggs in one basket, work with more than one adoption professional. So that doesn't have to be 3 different adoption agencies. It could be working with an adoption agency, an attorney, and then also a photo listing or doing some self-networking yourself. So there's several different combinations that you can put together to be able to take advantage of what the power of 3 will do for your adoption and shortening your adoption process. So the number 2 is to be sure that your preferences are as broad as possible and your family is comfortable with. So if you're open to both genders, that's better than one gender. Being open to as many races as you feel comfortable with. Being open to prematurity of the baby. Open to how the expecting mom became pregnant, which could be unknown birth fathers or possible multiple birth fathers. So being open to that, but also another big one is being open to the mental health backgrounds of the expecting parents, especially anxiety and depression, because I don't know how many people can go through an unplanned pregnancy and be looking at adoption for your child who aren't experiencing some kind of anxiety or depression. So be sure you're open to as many mental health background as possible. And the last one and the big one is how open are you to drugs and alcohol use during pregnancy? So just be sure you take the time to learn what these drugs will do to the baby in utero and also long term as well. So be sure you do your research, and the more open and broad you are, the more opportunities you're going to have for your profile to be shown, which then will increase your odds of being chosen by an expecting mom who would like to place her child with your family. So number 3 is to have a profile that is fantastic. So the profile is something that families will put together. It can be a physical book or it can be online, electronical. So just know it's a way that expecting moms will choose the family that they would like to meet and consider placing their child with. And so the profile is your first impression. And remember, you don't get a second chance to make a good first impression. So this is where a place where families will sometimes try to save money on, because let's face it, adoption is expensive. And so families will try to find ways to save as much as they can. And I can tell you the profile is not the place to do that, because the profile is your introduction to an expecting mom finding you. And so be sure you take the time, do your profile well. I actually recommend hiring a professional to do your profile and to be sure that it expresses who you are and tells your story as a family. And also something that a lot of families don't take advantage of is doing a video. A video is, first of all, it will make you unique, and that a lot of families don't do them. Why? I don't know. I think that's crazy not to do a video. But a video is just being able to show them who you are and be able to hear your voice and be able to share your story. And so that is my biggest advice, is to have a professional profile done. So remember, when starting the adoption process, you got to start somewhere.